Great, we're on.
All right, hey, how you doing? We're ready for another community spotlight. I'm Evie with Astoria Mutual Aid Network, and I am here today with Stan Morse, Justice for All Coalition. If you don't know about the Justice for All Coalition, they are a grassroots group. They primarily focus on NYCHA, but I'm going to let Stan talk about the work the Justice for All Coalition does.
Sure, so we work with our NYCHA residents predominantly around the issue of repairs to make sure that the folks get repairs in their apartments. And what we're looking to do soon is have a lawsuit. As soon as the courts open up, if we can't get, first we're going to do what we call a group HP action. That's the first step. And that's directly for repairs. So if we can't get the repairs done, the next step is going to be a lawsuit. Then if we don't get justice that way, the next step is going to be a rent strike. So we're organizing NYCHA residents here in Queensbridge, Ravenswood, Astoria houses, and now other developments around the city are coming on board. And hopefully we can build this into a citywide rent strike situation, which I think will shake up the world. But also we fighting against the privatization of NYCHA. So while they let developments fall all apart, what they're really doing is enticing private developers to come in here like that's the only hope. That's the only way to get repairs done. We know they're building jails and doing all types of stuff every other day, and they can find the money for the things they want to find the money for, but they can't fix people's apartments. So we fighting against that. And then on top of that, you have Queensbridge here. You walk 3, 4, 5 blocks in either direction, you have massive development that's coming through this neighborhood. These are most highly developed neighborhood in the country. At the same time, you have the largest housing development that's in the worst condition. So all of that's coming together right here in this neighborhood. Then you have organizations like ULIC and others who are coming in here to bring in more development, and so-called engaging the community with their fake meetings and fake community engagement to give crumbs while they're going to make millions and billions on top of the millions and billions they already have. So we're fighting against all of that as well. The private developers, the billionaires who care nothing but profit, while people are suffering and dying just a few blocks away.
Tell us about some of the conditions that you've seen, but also people are telling you about, right? Like people coming up to you now here while you're here today to ask for help, right? Because they can't get it from NYCHA. So tell us about some of the conditions that exist here in NYCHA.
I just came from the Palm of the Day, Bubba Sugar Bays, Mom, and how do you not have a sink in a bathroom in the middle of a pandemic? So they tell NYCHA residents wash your hands and be safe. If you don't have a fully functional bathroom, that's absurd. So I've heard stories like that. I've heard a story of a lady in Jefferson houses. Her whole family died. The whole family died from COVID-19. And then you have a leak from her apartment into another apartment, and everybody in that apartment got sick, and then somebody in that apartment almost died and ended up on a respirator. And they never came to clean the apartment where the whole family died. So you hear stories like this. I know some people telling me there have been no cleaning at all. Since it began. One lady actually put sugar on the floor of her hallway to see if it would be cleaned up. And it stayed like that for months. So how is NYCHA cleaning? When they say they're cleaning 3 times a day on their website, that's not happening. And you're causing people to die. So I think now you're finding NYCHA residents becoming more aware. Like, you know what? They really don't care about us. We knew they didn't care before. But during COVID-19, it exposed it all. Like they really, really, really don't care. And I think folks are getting fed up. And they really ready to take action to really stop this.
Yeah. And you really saw how COVID-19 really hit communities who are living in NYCHA, right? They're disproportionately affected,
yes.
Right? Because obviously there's been such disinvestment in NYCHA for so many years. So you're really seeing like the impact. This community's been really hard hit.
Absolutely. The sad part about it, on top of that, is that a lot of people in NYCHA still have to work. A lot of the essential workers are NYCHA residents who are the ones stocking these shelves or the ones maybe doing deliveries or what have you. So they risk their lives to go out here to make sure we're okay and then come back to an apartment or a development that's falling all apart. So where's the honor in that? And I see the governor and the mayor, they had their briefings, for like months. They would not even mention NYCHA. It wasn't until pressure was put on by some of the elected officials. They started questioning like really what's going on during COVID-19, and we found out that what they were saying they wasn't doing. Then they began to do stuff. It was too little, too late. And then I'm coming through Queensbridge today, and it's dirty today. Right now, I'm walking the hallways. You can tell the hallways are not clean, elevators are not clean, and we like 2-3 months into this pandemic, and they're still not cleaning. So you literally causing people to die. Now it's no longer rhetoric. Like, they let you die. No, they literally are letting people die. and it's unacceptable.
So, you know, the murder of George Floyd and, of course, all the others as well has really, you know, brought together so many people to, like, kind of rise up and demand justice. What do you see the tie between that and, like, what's happening in NYCHA?
I see a big tie. Last week we led a march on June 8th right here. This is NYCHA residents. You know, a lot of them deal with police brutality in this development. You know, so the police are in like a occupied state. A lot of these young kids are talking about they being harassed. You know, so they were fed up. They say, you know, we want to go out here and do something. So we marched over the 21st Street Bridge. It was a very peaceful march. But when you go even deeper, you know, yes, we should be on the street marching when a white cop kills a black person. Yes, that's definitely. We should be on the street. But more people die every day from systemic racism that you see here in NYCHA, you know, where they're dying. So my concern and my question for our community is that if we're not getting out there and marching for all of these things, you know, then I'm not saying it's for nothing, but in the end of the day, it's not going to create the change that we really need. And I'm an organizer, so I know how hard it is to get somebody to come to a meeting, you know, but yet thousands and thousands of people could take to the street over this issue. Why are they not taking to the street for this? You know, you have folks who live in like in a third world country, you know, so why isn't there millions of people on the street for that? So for all the folks who are marching, I tell them they got to get involved in an organization. You know, if you march, great, but find a housing organization or find an organization that deals with education or an organization that deals with public health, whatever it is, get involved with those type of things so that it continues and we can really make some change. Because eventually the cameras are going to go away. And when the cameras go away and the media is not covering it anymore, or something else happens that takes our attention, are we still going to be marching? And 2 months ago, or 3 weeks ago, was about COVID-19. Now all of a sudden, that's off the news cycle and it's the marches. So whenever something new comes up, people are going to really keep this energy going. And if you don't get involved in a grassroots organization, then really, what are we really doing?
So one of the things that is coming down the way is like development, right?
Sure.
So this whole area has seen so much luxury development. And so there are going to be new projects proposed, right? Through your LIC or whomever. What is like Justice for All doing about that? What are they trying to
we want to stop that. Your LIC, they brought us to a meeting before the community engagement meetings began. And they said, well, we want to meet with the community and find out what the concerns are. We don't have any plans. We just want to have a conversation. Then 2 weeks later, right after that, they put a website up together, put Justice for All as part of their website, as though we are in agreement with what they're doing, which is totally disingenuous, because that's not what the meeting was about. Then they started having your LIC meetings, and now all of a sudden they got all these plans, you know. But when you met with us, with Bishop Taylor, it was supposed to be a blank page, and you really wanted our input. No, what y'all really have is your own ideas anyway. You want to come to an organization like Justice for All to say that you met with the community and had a little meeting, so it legitimizes what you really want to do. But in the end, you got what you want to do anyway. And then they've had maybe 3-4 of them. You go to these meetings, it's a total sham. You know, no one can ask a question really. You know, they bring their own people. Bishop Taylor brings people from his church over here to these meetings to act like they're residents, and they kind of load the deck so the people can't really ask a question and really be engaged. You know, and so after that, they're gonna do what they want to do. And all this stuff, you know, Amazon came and the media comes around for that. You know, but this is not big enough for the media. They don't care about what the little your LICs are doing because it doesn't draw as much attention. But that's even more damaging.
And your LIC is basically comprised of some of the major developers, like
Exactly.
Cornerstone, Durst. They're part of the your LIC.
Exactly.
So I guess kind of what you're saying is like when it comes time for these rezonings, when they go forward, right, to the community boards, the borough presidents, you want people to come out for that too, right?
Yeah,
not just
we have to get involved, you know, in all those issues, and they count on the fact that people don't show up. They count on the fact that the community's not going to be aware. They don't even advertise it really. So if you don't know, you're not going to know. And I think they do that by design. They know that if they had a big representation of NYCHA residents in those planning sessions, in those beginning stages, expressing their concern, none of them would want anything that they're proposing. You know, so they come at the end of the day when it's almost too late, and they say, well, this is what we're going to do, basically, and accept it or leave it. You know, but for us as a community, we need to be in all those community board meetings. We need to make sure there's a real URLA process that they try to get around and get through and not expose people to. We need to really do that so the community can really say what it wants to do for itself as opposed to the way it's done right now.
Thank you, Stan Morse, Justice for All Coalition.
That's
Great
right.
work.
We're going to keep fighting.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.